Hey everybody, it's Liam Landry here with the Small Crescent Alliance, giving you my review of the June 13th episode of NXT, and tell you if it was worth it. So this is the NXT right before TakeOver Chicago, so let's see how it does. Now, I will say, there's not really a whole lot to build to the actual pay-per-view. Most of the matches aren't really connected to that. Only one segment later on tonight with Aleister Black. But beyond that, everything else is kind of like standalone, which is a little weird, for a go-home show, but they have been building it up for the last few weeks, so it doesn't really change that much. Anyways, it starts out with a match with the War Raiders. They come out and face No Nothing Team, a simple squash match. They look good in it, but it's a squash match. They're it's pretty fun watching them. Beat down these guys, just completely obliterate them. But I don't know. That's never been something that I enjoy personally. So I don't think it's worth it. But it's just a squash match. It is what it is. I guess it does a good job for that. Building up the Wall Raiders, and afterwards they do call out the mighty, formerly TM61, and looks like it's going to be a start for a feud for those two. So I guess it could be interesting. Let's see where they go with it. After that, we had Bianca Belair go and have a match and against Aaliyah, and this wasn't necessarily a squash match, but it was a very one-sided matchup with Bianca. It's very common for what they've been doing with her on NXT. She's definitely a woman with a lot of talent, a lot of charisma, so she's definitely going to be a star as time comes on, but right now she's still really developing. So the squash matches are fine, but it's not really my cup of tea. I don't think it's worth it that much. So they have that. Afterwards, there's a backstage segment between her and Dakota Kai, so it looks like they're going to have a match next week. So that could be interesting to see where it goes with that. It's probably not going to be a squash match, it'll be a lot more competitive, so I'm excited for that. After this, we had a match that was made last week between EC3 and Cassius Ohno. And this was a very good matchup here. It was really great back and forth. I like both of these guys a lot, especially the character work of EC3 and the physicality of Cassius Ohno. So this really works out well. EC3 ends up getting the victory, as you think. It's a little disappointing not to see him, in TakeOver Chicago. You think they'd be doing more with him, but it's kind of difficult because they are really stacked right now with talent, and they're bringing in, and at the time when they brought EC3 and they also brought Ricochet in and War Raiders, it's a little difficult to spread that time around, but I'm hoping afterwards he's going to have a really good feud going. I did hear something about at the UK Tournament Championship, or maybe it was a house show or something, there was a tag team match with Ricochet and Gargano versus Velveteen Dream and EC3, so maybe that means no. Yeah, I think it was Gargano. So maybe that means he feuds with Gargano afterwards. Who knows? That should be really good if it is. So, but anyways, this was still, good match. Fun to watch right now. And the right guy ended up winning. I am a little worried about the slide Cassius Ohno was on, but, they put a Johnny Gargano on the big slide and then really turned his career around. So hopefully they do the same with Cassius Ohno, give him a nice run. But, we'll see. Then after that, we get to the last match of the night, which is Pete Dunne defending the UK Championship against Kyle O'Reilly from the Undisputed Era. And this was just a fantastic match. Both these guys have this background of, mat-based wrestling and submission-based wrestling, and their chain grappling was just spectacular. absolutely amazing, and I just really loved it all the way through. Both both their character working was on point, and this time we actually got a winner. It was Pete Dunne getting an actual clean victory, unlike many of the other matches in this rivalry where Undisputed Era comes and runs down and interferes. They didn't really do that. That they ran down afterwards, but the match actually ended cleanly. Pete Dunne retaining the championship. Then Undisputed Era came down and started attacking people. Ork and Birch also coming down. Big brawl, like normal, for the last few weeks they've been doing. But this was so fantastic, so wonderful. I definitely want to see these two guys at it again in the future. And Kyle O'Reilly has definitely, especially from TakeOver New Orleans, has definitely really shined in Undisputed Era into being one of my favorites in the group. Even competing with Adam Cole, as just I love his in-ring ability and in-ring style, and it works so well here. So you definitely should check that out. Definitely worth it. I don't know if I talked about the EC3. The EC3 CSO no was worth it. I don't know if I said that early. Anyways, yeah, those last two matches were definitely worth it. So we start off the night with 2 squashes, turning around with 2 really good matches, and one pretty good, one really, really great match. So I think that was a good night. But then we have the final segment, like I said before, was Aleister Black coming to address the crowd and talk about the incident where he was beat down by Lars Sullivan, only for Lars to come back again and beat him down again. And I don't know, I'm not that excited for this matchup just because it kind of came from nowhere, and really all they've done so far is just 2 beatdowns. So I think because that normal rule applies that the guy who was on top last loses, so Aleister Black is probably retaining, so it could definitely be a good match. I won't count it out, but not super hyped for it. And while this was a cool beatdown and had some cool imageries at the end, it wasn't that great. I think it was still worth it to watch, especially coming from the last match. Just continue watching just to see it. But to be completely honest with you, I wouldn't mind that Pete Dunne match being the main event, and this being like right before it. I know they wanted to end with the champion and end with the this really nice closing shot of Lars Sullivan standing over Aleister Black. But I thought the Pete Dunne match was still better. But I would still say worth watching. Maybe get you more hyped than me for TakeOver Chicago. I don't know. But anyways, I will say that at TakeOver Chicago, Issa and myself are going to be going live and giving all live reactions to it. Then on Sunday, DJ and me are going to go for live reactions for Money in the Bank. Issa and Francesca won't be able to join us for that, but they will have their Was It Worth It afterwards, along with all Was It Worth It. So make sure to check those out. You can, if you like the video, you can leave a like, and you want to see more videos like this, subscribe, hit the bell so you can be notified about those for when we go live for those 2 shows. And also for the fact that we go live for almost every pay-per-view, and we go live for our podcast, which is almost every Sunday at 1 p.m. Central Time. Say almost because we're probably not going to be doing it this Sunday just because it's Father's Day and there's going to be a lot of problems with that. But it's normally every Sunday starting at 1 p.m. Central. And you can also follow me on Twitter at Liam_SWA. And yeah, until next time, see ya.